Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Podcast Strikes Back. My name is George and you're listening to the weekly movie show with the boys Connor.
Hello.
And Benny.
Hey.
It is almost the end of November, guys. I cannot believe it. 2018 is almost wrapped up. So I've caught up on a couple movies this week in preparation for our best and worst of the year, which is coming up.
I've actually made a list of films that I need to catch up on. I'm like, I literally do not have enough time. If I started watching movies right now and just continued on until the end of the year, I might make it just in time. I put it on my my reminders for my iPhone so I can just click them off when I've seen them. And I have so many titles on there. I literally just went through like the Wikipedia, what's been released, and was like, obviously I'm not going to see all of these. So I just picked out about 40 of them. So I can, if I started watching now and just continued
40?
back to back, I can't even remember how many.
I had about 3.5.
I've got so many to catch up on. It's actually kind of daunting. I've got it. I actually think I've got it here. I'll give you some of the titles that I want to get through. A Simple Favor, Star is Born, Annihilation, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Aquaman. Some of these haven't come out yet. These are just things that I need to see.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Bad Times at the El Royale, Black Klansman, Blockers, Bohemian Rhapsody, Boy Erased, Crazy Rich Asians, Creed 2, Death Wish, Den of Thieves, Early Man, First Man, Gotti. I really want to see Gotti.
Oh.
It's meant to be horrifically bad.
Yeah, looks that. You missed a lot of movies this year.
Oh my God. Halloween, Hereditary,
Wow.
Holmes and Watson, Hotel Artemis.
I think we reviewed half of these.
I know, Johnny, Leave No Trace, Maze Runner, Mortal Engines.
No, neither of those.
Ocean's 8. Well, I'm trying to. I also need to
Fill out the bad list.
Yeah.
Can you send me this list?
Apparently, Papillon is either has just come out or is coming out this year. I think it came out like earlier in the year.
Which one?
The Papillon remake.
No, I didn't.
With
Oh,
the guy from Sons of Anarchy, I believe.
Ron Perlman.
No. What character would Ron Perlman play in Papillon?
The main one.
God, there's so many more. Sorry to Bother You, Suspiria. You know
All right,
one that's on there
all right.
that I really want to see? Teen Titans Go to the Movies.
Hell yes.
Based on your recommendation alone.
I can't wait to watch that again.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. And then there's so many more.
Okay.
And they are.
You have to get
Oh my God,
fucking
that's
moving,
so
son,
much-
because that's
Yeah,
a
you got
fuck
some
of
work
work
to do.
I've knocked off about half of those.
Yeah. So and I this week I checked off none of them.
Out of the shadows.
Yeah.
Round 4.
Round 5, please. No, but I did go on a Netflix binge. So there's a lot of titles that I wanted to watch. Obviously, we all watched Buster Scruggs, which is the new Coen Brothers one, and we've got a review of that out at the moment. But in addition to that, I have continued watching The Haunting of Hill House. I'm up to I'm halfway through episode 7. I was watching it just before I got here. I was looking at my watch and kind of thinking like, it takes me 20 minutes to get to George's, and I was really taking it right up to the last moment. I am enthralled with this series.
It's got his hooks in now, don't it?
Oh my God. The first 2 episodes were interesting, but they didn't really sink their claws into me. 3 onwards, holy shit.
I think episode 3 is where it really... That contextualizes a lot of things.
How far are you into it?
I mean,
now?
I've just finished 4. I think so.
Yeah. I mean...
So I'm going to try and polish it off this week.
Yeah.
That's my goal. That's my fucking goal, man.
I think
Polish it off tonight.
Luke's episode is where I fell in love with the tall guy floating around, tapping his cane, trying to get his hat back.
Creepy as
Fucking
fuck.
gold. But so we won't get into any spoilers, but I've already said exactly this on the show. Episode 6, from a technical standpoint, no story stuff, but just amazing. Like I was just saying to you, Connor, earlier when you came in, that they designed the entire production of the series around shooting episode 6, which is basically 4 long shots.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Technically speaking, that is a really excellent episode. Ben, you mentioned that some people might think it's gimmicky, but I thought it was pulled off seamlessly. And it doesn't do it in any kind of way that sacrifices story or character development.
Not at all, no.
An absolute bucket load of character development in this.
If anything,
so
it really
effective.
bolsters what's happening in the story. It really captures the intensity of it.
In episode 3, that focuses on, what's her name?
Theo.
Theo, yeah.
Love that character.
The smiling
man at the end of the bed. Oh my God. And it has, Mike Flanagan, he is so good at just the glimpse moments of horror. It's not lathered with jump scares and stuff. This is like, it just peaks and troughs at the perfect moments. He has such a good handle on it, and it really captures your interest. For me, it does.
I think there's a moment in episode 5, the Nelly episode, that it kind of struck me that what happens with horror films so often is that they are trying to achieve the mantle of scariest horror film ever. And that's every time that there's marketing on horror films, that's what they go for. That's what the studio wants. That's all this kind of stuff. But they always tend to do it at the sacrifice of good story or good character development or all those other things that actually make a movie. They just think as long as it's scary, they don't need the rest of that. And so that's why I think it's so refreshing to come across horror films and horror anthologies and horror, TV series that take the time to make a really coherent story that is interesting and that takes the time to develop characters that are interesting.
I was just thinking before you started that it's amazing that after all this time, still remember so many characters' names from this show.
Yeah.
Because I seriously, by the end of the series, actually loved all of the characters, which is so impressive for something like this.
They're so real. They're so dynamic.
And I feel like some of the best performances I've seen on TV in a long time. So well cast.
I don't think I've seen any of these guys in other stuff other than
Mike
Flanagan's recurring cast members.
Yeah. And there's one of them's Game of Thrones guy. The eldest brother.
I've seen season 1.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
I've seen season 1.
He's Dario Naharis, if that's a name.
Oh, yeah. I know.
But I'm so keen to see how this wraps up because this is going to be... once we're done, let's do a review.
Please.
Because that's long overdue, I feel.
So glad you guys are getting into this thing now. I spent a few weeks there without you guys watching it. I'd need other people to talk to about this.
I think I'm going to watch this many, many times over the years.
Yeah. I've already seen it twice.
Continuing my Netflix binge this week, I also watched The Outlaw King.
Starring Chris Pine's dick.
Yeah.
From what I hear.
That was a thing that happened. Straight up.
Straight up. Wow, that's revolutionary.
Well, maybe not. Maybe not like that. This was. Look, I was kind of keen to see this film. The trailers kind of hooked me in. I love historical fiction.
It's Robert the Bruce, is it this?
It's
story?
Robert the Bruce. Which brings me, I guess, to my first thing about this film, which is that this is a story that's usually for the last 20, 30 years has been dominated by William Wallace. I mean, Braveheart is the quintessential Scottish liberation movie, and for all intents and purposes, throughout my childhood and throughout kind of my adult life, William Wallace was Mel Gibson. So I thought it was really interesting that they decided to focus on the same story but from a different character. And my first question was, how are they going to address William Wallace within the film? And I thought that they did it really well.
Is he in the film?
Parts. But it doesn't steal the thunder at all, which I'm really glad that they kind of left that be. They really let Braveheart be its own story, and this kind of sits as a complementary addition to that.
Does Mel come back?
Yep. It's quite surprising. I could have. I don't know.
That's good to hear, man. I'm glad they're keeping the canon, the Braveheart canon.
The Braveheart cinematic universe.
Beyond that, I will say that this film really impressed me.
Cool.
It felt like a serious step up for Netflix. I really liked Chris Pine in this. I thought, for the most part, his accent was, I'll say, serviceable. I can't say that for many of the other characters. There were some people that were not great. I find that a lot of accents break down when people yell. And in a movie about Scottish people, that's a recipe for disaster because half the people are just yelling in this movie.
I'm going to assume Aaron Taylor Johnson was bad in this because his Quicksilver accent was not too good either.
No. actually one of the better accents.
Wow,
I'll
okay.
Say.
Sorry, I just still remember him in Age of Ultron. He's like, I also have a little picture.
Yeah.
I take it out of my pocket and look at it every night.
20 million. No, Taylor Johnson was actually really good in this, and it wasn't until like I'd say 3/4 of the way through this film that I was like, "Is that Aaron Taylor Johnson?"
Yeah.
That's
more a comment on where his career's been in the past few years, for sure.
Maybe, but yeah, like he doesn't look recognizable, and definitely one of my favorite characters in this. I will say that this movie doesn't pull any punches. It's fairly gory. And doesn't not only just kind of doesn't pull punches in terms of gore, but just straight up brutality. And it without pushing it too far. So it's not like gore porn or anything like that, but it is.
It shows the violence.
It shows the violence.
It's presumably servicing a point in this narrative.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a brutal time.
It's a brutal time. They got the whole the culture of the time, I think, pretty well as well.
Nice.
I mean, there is an absolute bucket load of religious themes and just kind of incorporating how powerful the church was at the time. So everything has that kind of spin on it. Yeah, it's a beautiful kind of mix of political and adventure, and it just genuinely really good time.
Sounds like overall a very positive review.
I finished it up and I couldn't really think of anything bad to say about it.
Now,
I was
movie
really, really impressed.
Sorry, seems pretty tailor-made for you. Would you recommend it to others, or specifically us necessarily? Because you especially said, like, I haven't even seen Braveheart, and you've got some Scott in you, don't you?
Yeah. Way back where. I think, Ben, you'd probably enjoy it more than George, simply because of the pacing. I can see George falling asleep about 3/4 of the way through this film.
Needs more Cockney hustle, like
But no, I think purely based on just the genuinely well-made nature of this film, like it's really well made. I think that, I just think that you would enjoy it based off that.
I think I'll like it just because when we were in Scotland, I mean, that's an automatic. In addition to that, when we were in Scotland, we were getting all into this kind of, 15th century onwards Scottish history.
Us, when we went on the podcast trip to Scotland.
I mean, all you guys, and the cats.
Can you believe how rude it was that he didn't invite us on that part of his honeymoon?
Outrageous.
I mean, what the heck?
I had to exclude you guys in something.
I was never going to the wedding, but I would have come to that.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's...
So, always keen to see a bit of Scottish history.
Yeah, no, genuinely, it's really good. All right, so that's that. I also watched, and Ben, I might. Is that
the first film of yours? Fucking hell!
No, that's Outlaw King, Buster Scruggs, Haunting of Hill House, and then Ben, this might tailor into yours quite nicely, which is I watched that doco that you sent me on The Hobbit.
I'm glad to hear.
Like a feature-length doco by Lindsay. What's her name? Damn it.
I'm blanking. Lindsay Ellis.
Ellis.
Formerly the Nostalgia Chick.
Yeah, I want to give a massive, like, I haven't watched any of her stuff, but I was so goddamn impressed with this.
Yeah, just to cut in quickly, Lindsay Ellis, all her stuff's on YouTube. She's amazing. She's one of the best film essayists I've seen ever.
Oh.
Yeah, and this documentary in particular, this Hobbit, this 3-part, half-hour each documentary
2-part.
on the... there's a third part. Okay, right. Sorry, I haven't watched the first 2 in a while. It's just a documentary on the production of The Hobbit, and a lot of stuff that I was not privy to whatsoever.
What's the angle here?
What the fuck went wrong?
Yeah, it kind of encapsulates a whole bunch of different angles on why The Hobbit didn't work.
And we're talking about from the end product perspective and the whole production perspective as well?
Everything.
Yes. And from the point of view of someone to whom The Lord of the Rings means a lot. Yeah. And this is just like, this was a big, disappointment.
Big deal.
Genuinely felt like she was speaking to me like directly. And it was...
Yeah, I knew you'd get a lot out of it.
And it was interesting finding, like, because I mean, I know that it's a popular film and it was obviously very popular books, but it's sometimes nice to have it reaffirmed at how much it changed or how much it impacted people at that kind of young age. Like when I think back, the quintessential films that I think about when I think about my kind of, I don't know if it's early childhood, but kind of when I was like 9, 10, 11, it's Lord of the Rings. I remember going to that.
Sure, man.
I remember being so excited for Return of the King.
But we see that when we do the Lord of the Rings marathon, the Ritz. Punters come, and the last 2 years has actually grown in numbers. So people love Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, they know every line.
I've got a mate that I work with that watches it once a year religiously, and I think that's oddly enough, it's a fairly common thing.
Yeah.
You talk to a lot of people that'll put it on at least once a year.
Well, Maddie does. I know Geordie does. A bunch of people I know do it.
I try and put it on at least once a year, or at least one of the trilogy once a year. It's hard to kind of describe the breadth of this documentary.
Do they talk about Del Toro?
Yep. They talk about Del Toro.
I'm so keen for this.
They talk about everything from on the production side. They talk about everything from speculation to kind of concrete things that have been put out there. They talk about scheduling. They talk about the change in. It goes quite into depth about who had any kind of financial or creative input into this. MGM, the Weinstein Company, Warner Brothers.
There's MGM that jammed it up.
No. Well, yeah, you have to.
Yeah, you got to watch it. Like the third part dives all the way into union disputes, and they speak. Wow. She speaks extensively with one of the actors who play one of the hobbits in the films, and he's a Kiwi guy. He's got no compunction about just going and saying everything. Like he's just completely honest.
Oh my god!
I was so surprised watching this. Like, this guy just never wants to work again.
It's so great.
It was amazing.
And fuck him, yeah, he's so much better than whatever they made him do in The Hobbit. I can't even remember, but he was such an engaging character to watch.
But for me, like I've probably watched the behind the scenes Lord of the Rings discs more than the main movies. I love that shit. To hear about this, this is tantalizing.
It's not the same. I will say that right up. It is not the same as going.
I completely understand. It's not a Weta Workshop porn, kind of thing. It's in-depth analysis on what went wrong.
Yeah,
but,
and it goes beyond
anything involved with that movie production stuff.
It goes beyond kind of just production issues, and it delves into like kind of the basic issues that arise, or that just kind of the fundamental problems that they faced in adapting The Hobbit into a film. Particularly, one of the most interesting things that I thought that she said, and she comes right out of the gate and says that, whereas The Hobbit was originally released and then Tolkien had the job of developing a sequel to follow on to The Hobbit and then retroactively change things in The Hobbit as well. The challenge that the filmmakers had was that they started with what was written as a sequel, and then somehow had to find a film that is written as an original, but they need to make it as a prequel. And that kind of sets up the whole, kind of dynamic of where they're going to run into issues. And
they tried to make it more epic than it needed to be. The Hobbit is a dainty little story.
Make it more epic than Lord of the Rings.
And they had to make it more epic than Lord of the Rings. That's where it all fell apart.
Yeah. Just I can't.
No, that was the one. That was the one issue.
I've solved it. I don't know why Lindsay Ellis did this whole 3-hour thing. Like,
don't worry, guys. You don't need to watch it. Thanks, Lindsay. But I got this covered.
Yeah.
So is that the? Sorry. Yeah.
No. That's me done. Like I thought that was a really interesting video essay.
Mm.
You want to go next, Benny?
I do. I've continued catching up on DC's Titans. Again, I continue to be completely in love with the show. The last episode I watched focused on Dick Grayson, Robin, and Jason Todd, Batman's current Robin. So in the series, Dick Grayson has divorced himself from Batman. He's kind of gone off on his own, but he's not Nightwing yet. And honestly, it's the best live-action depiction of Batman I've seen in 10 years, and Batman's not even in it. And it is such a good argument for why Robin is a compelling character and made me angry at every version of Batman that has not included him in it. The way they talk about Bruce as not only like a father figure, but like almost like a couple, not like a romantic couple, but the way that it's like a jilted ex talking to the new model. It's just also fantastic. And the way you've got the one who has seen Bruce for the kind of not abusive character that he is, but like neglectful and, always after his own ends. And the new guy is just so impressed to be working with Batman. I fucking love this series so much.
Sounds cool.
I fucking love it. And again, the production values just keep blowing my mind. I think it's one of the best looking TV shows on TV. All I've heard from people who've actually seen it are positive things. It's a shame it got so hard off on the wrong foot because no one seems really willing to give it a chance. But I guess this will just be my other Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Thankfully it's already been renewed for a second season, so I'm really keen to keep keeping up on that. And I also saw a new film by Steve McQueen, director of 12 Years a Slave, that being Widows.
That's getting lambasted.
It's really interesting.
Hang on, what?
It hasn't gotten as great a reception
really
as I thought it would. Sorry, lambasted is probably a very strong.
I think both critics.
The reviews are amazing. What are you talking about?
Sorry, I should clarify. It's not making the kinds of waves that I would have expected it to, as in it's not performing as well as I thought it would.
What?
Oh, sorry, 91% on Rotten Tomatoes.
What are you talking about?
Sorry.
I was reading a couple reviews of it.
Audience
saying
score
it was
60%. Okay,
very average.
It's one of those critics are loving it. The audiences aren't really getting it, and I think they're seeing that in the box office.
Heard of it. This is
it's bombing, isn't it?
42 million odd production, so it's a sizable chunk, and I think it is performing under what they were expecting.
Yeah.
No, so I'm on the right track here. I was
not reviews though.
No. Sorry,
no.
Critic reviews.
I
box office whole, they're down.
They're not getting the reception from people that they thought they were.
Yeah,
so
that's understandable. I mean, this is
it's an indie.
This is like a director who is just all about awards. Really, like everything he does is one of the best movies of the year. I mean, he directed Shame and Hunger. Like those were not blockbusters. And yeah,
shout out to Shame.
That you just give me a heart attack, Connor. This movie is spoilers for next month, but this is easily my top 5 movies of the year. Holy fuck. I can't wait to watch it again. It's just this amazing, written by Gillian Flynn, who wrote Gone Girl, the book, of course. Like the screenplay was written by Gillian Flynn.
Oh, cool.
So it's just this amazingly well-directed heist film thriller with this kind of subtle, edgy feminist bent in it that is just so geared towards me. I couldn't have been more enthralled with this film.
I'm pumped, man. I'm so pumped to see this. I find Steve McQueen a fascinating guy. Watch him in interviews. He is...
Bullet was such a good... Anyway.
I knew you were going to fucking do that.
Sorry.
Because I've told you about thinking for the longest time.
Yeah, everyone did.
Steve McQueen was directing all these amazing
films.
films.
But I fucking love this dude because he just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I was like... No. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Because I was like,
but he could have changed his name.
He was dead.
He could have called himself Steve something McQueen,
Steve McKean.
He's like Steve McQueen. That's my fucking name. Deal with it.
Yeah, it's great.
He's an interesting guy.
He probably just assumed that. Oh yeah, people know that Steve McQueen is dead. I'm
no,
clear.
They did not.
Yeah,
but in my mind now, especially as of this year, there is Steve McQueen and there is White Steve McQueen who is dead.
And that's and the really annoying thing is I always knew that Steve McQueen was dead. It's not like if you had asked me like, is Steve McQueen like from Bullet, is he alive? I'd be like, no, he's dead.
But go check out some of this guy's stuff because it's been a while since his last film.
12 Years a Slave was a while ago, yeah.
And he has been doing art installations and all kinds of other stuff. Like this guy's an auteur. He's not just a filmmaker. He's like on another level, I feel. So yeah, once again, shout out to Shame.
Yeah, I could only assume the smaller reception to this financially is because no one wants to go watch a movie from the director of 12 Years a Slave. Everyone came out of that movie like that was a masterpiece, but that's the worst thing I've ever seen.
Oh yeah,
they should have probably gone more heavy-handed with the Gone Girl angle.
But again, it just that has always struck me as very odd. People going to a period piece about slavery and then coming out feeling like that was terrible. Like, what did you think that was going to be? I mean,
just a bad time.
Yeah, like it's. At what point did you think that was going to be, a fun time with a bunch of slaves running around and singing? Like that's absurd.
I think the movie was so much more effective than people expected, though.
Yeah.
Like that was a fucking powerful one. Anyway, I cannot recommend Widows enough. Do not miss this one because it might not be in theaters for long.
Nice.
Hmm.
I watched Mission Impossible Fallout because that was one I missed. I listened to your boys' review when I was over in Scotland itself.
That's a bad accent.
Yeah, terrible. I quite enjoyed this. I thought particularly the cinematography and the soundtrack was really strong.
It's gorgeous.
The plot, man, I found it really difficult to keep up with this because there was like double identities after identities, and he was pretending to be this guy and that, and I was just like, listen, I don't give a fuck. Just show me the action. There was some really good stuff in here. I think this is quite possibly the best Mission Impossible film, and it really tied up from Mission Impossible 3. Like, it brought a nice loop in with Michelle Monaghan coming back and all that kind of stuff. So, I don't think it's like
You think this is the best out of the entire franchise?
I think so. I think it's the most complete, and I think the style of the film is the most sophisticated. Like the look of it, the feel of it, the way it's put together.
Do you think that the accolades that were put upon it as being like, one of the best action films of the last 10 years was justified?
I don't think so. I think the plot was just so convoluted for me that I was just kind of there for the sequencing and the visual style, as I said. Yeah, I don't think there wasn't anything there that really stood out to me, say the best action film.
Yeah.
What do they say over the past decade?
Yeah, there was
Right.
A lot of hype for this one.
A lot of hype, and then someone out there said that it's the best movie of the last 10 years, and I was like,
No, I had a really good time with that. And then Benny and I watched The Night Comes For Us, an Indonesian martial arts flick on Netflix.
Where was my invite?
Oh,
It's got lost in the mail.
Yeah. Oh, shit. It's got awkward.
I told you not to tell him.
No, I've got to tell him. We've got to tell him sometime, man.
I love the idea that you have to be like, me and Ben, we're friends.
Outside of this room.
Son of a bitch, you promised me this wouldn't happen.
This was so brutal. Like, holy fuck, you would love this, man. Like,
What's it called again?
The Night Comes For Us.
I was not expecting the overtop violence in this.
Oh my god, the body count of this film is insane.
Because it's the star of the raid. I'm never going to learn the pronunciation of his name, but Iko Uwais or something, who is amazing.
Yeah.
So watchable and such a, like, even when he's not doing action, but when he's doing action, holy fuck.
Incredible.
But like the raid is, violent to an extent, but this is like B-movie horror gore. It's
like
crazy.
There's one bit where knife goes in an arm and just shreds straight through here. Like, it is insane, but it's like that B-movie crazy slapsticky sort of style.
It's schlock.
It's schlock, but good schlock, I feel. Unfortunately, the pacing of the film really threw me off because halfway through the movie, I thought it was done.
Yeah, thanks, George. You really threw me off because I did too. And you brought up the time code, which I never do by design, because you brought it up and it was 1 hour in of 2 hours. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I thought it was wrapping up. I thought it was just about to finish.
How
But my
long is this
internal
film?
clock,
2
2 hours.
hours,
But
yeah.
my internal clock was like, that does not feel like 2 hours. So that's why I clicked it. Because I wouldn't have done. I don't like clicking it to find out when the time is, but I just did it then because I was like, this is wrapping up now.
Oh, mate, please. You check your watch at least 6 times in the theater.
I
every
don't
time
own
we're
a
there.
watch.
Or fucking
You check
your
his watch.
iPhone or like whatever
No,
it
you're
is.
the one who's always on their phone in the movie, and I'm always like,
That is true.
Please turn the fucking phone off.
It's all coming out now.
Yeah, all the secrets, man. This isn't just a podcast. This is a therapy session.
So after my initial gut punch of, wow, this is halfway through, the movie took a bit more form, I feel. Because the first part was like just 2 big action sequences or something, and then it kind of slowed down and started telling a story more. And so it was very oddly paced and structured, but kind of in an interesting way, I gotta say.
I found it refreshing how you got some really big character moments in the latter half of the film that weren't necessarily felt like reveals or twists, but just like, here's some more information about this person. So from that angle, I was like, oh, that's a pretty refreshing way of telling this story. But that middle bit really just sagged. And then at the end, holy shit, the final fight scene, just brutal beyond belief. yeah, I'm on this really cool like Indonesian martial arts film romp. So I want to watch Raid 2 now.
So
see what else is
if
out
I were
there.
to ask you
Headshot.
the question of what is the best hand-to-hand combat film or scene, would you still pick?
Dark Knight Rises. For you, the people.
You suck.
Have you watched it recently? Let's go watch it after this.
Oh my God.
Let's pick up that scene.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
that scene.
I'll watch
Yeah.
that scene, yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
And let's do a reaction, and we'll put it on the YouTube channel.
Let's do a reaction.
It's just us beating up George.
Yeah. This is a better scene than what we're watching.
Yeah, you want a scene? Here you go, bitch. All right, enough of that. I think we've gone through our little preamble. So yeah, guys, we all watched Buster Scruggs this week, so go check out our review for that. Let's get into the news because we got some stuff to talk about. Yeah.
I love that this is becoming more of a what we watch show than a news show now.
Yeah,
I
no,
like
we are.
We got to knock these down.
So news. First up, the first reviews for Aquaman have been released, and they are teasing an epic adventure and dazzling visuals.
What? A big production is coming out with early reviews and it's glowing?
Crazy. This has never happened for a DC movie before. So literally every DC movie has had this exact same early word, which is, it's amazing. It's great. It's like nothing you've ever seen before.
You notice they don't say that it is
It's
a good
good.
film.
Yeah.
They say it is an epic adventure with dazzling visuals.
There's an adventure.
Oh, this movie gonna
And
be
there's visuals.
Yeah, this movie gonna be shit.
24 frames a second, people.
Yeah.
That
Could still go either way. Who knows?
I mean, it could, and I don't know. After the last trailer, I feel like I'm being sucked in, and I kind of am excited for this film. But having said that, I think that might also be the Transformers effect, whereby the trailers always look really cool.
Yeah, DC's lost my trust. Like
Oh, really?
How?
Have they?
Why?
you know what it was? It was when the moment was with those reviews of Batman v Superman and seeing the film and being like, what in the shit's going on here? So that's why I'm exactly with you guys. I take these reviews with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But there's a part of me, little part that says, I think this is going to be fucking cool.
I'm the same way. I will mention though, with Batman vs Superman, I don't know. I can see why people would come out of that the first time and like it. Because when I first watched that movie, I was kind of not nearly as a bit confused, but I wasn't nearly as harsh on it as I ended up being, because it took me about a couple days of thinking about it to kind of have that hate bubble up inside of me.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I came out, I remember coming out of the film and Benny, you were like, what'd you think? And I was like, I kind of liked it. And you were like, fuck you.
I
just
remember
gave me
doing
this death stare.
I
Sounds
genuinely
like me.
remember doing the exact same thing. I remember coming out, you were working at the time.
We had a big talk about it.
Yeah, I walked out and you had said that, I think you said that you hated it, but I'll probably like it. And I came out and I was like, God help me, I didn't mind that. And then after having a conversation with you and kind of like sitting on the movie, I was like, oh no, I do hate that. Never mind.
I only ever say it as reverse psychology when I say that. I'm like, 'cause I want you to hate it too.
Yeah.
Can we jump straight ahead to the next DC news? Because Aquaman, we
Stay tuned.
Got to wait
Stay
and
tuned.
see.
Review coming soon.
So next up for DC, the Birds of Prey full title has been revealed, being Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. This is revealed through Margot Robbie's Instagram. Just a shot of the front page of the script. I like it.
It's giving it a certain flavor that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah,
we haven't seen any DC titles with this kind of flamboyant language.
Except for Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. I mean, they've done stupid titles.
Dawn of Justice, like it's so standard shit. Like the Fantabulous Emancipation. Like, what does that even mean?
I know that's fun. So that's really setting up the angle this is probably going to be taking, which is Harley Quinn getting the fuck away from the Joker, which is the only direction they can take this after everyone hates Jared Leto's Joker.
Yeah.
It'd be a great way to salvage what they've made there by taking Harley Quinn, who was pretty universally loved, and just making the Joker really the bad guy and the butt of the joke for this film. Which is just what I'm assuming it's going to be, but I think that'll be a good direction.
My main concern with this film, as with any, I guess, DC property or anything associated with this universe, is that they have tried this tone before. with Suicide Squad. I feel like it's in that same kind of vein.
Do you think?
Obviously,
I feel like this almost seems a little more Tim Burton-y to me. You know, it's got that really sort of flowery, overdone language. I'm getting a very Tim Burton-y, quirky vibe out of this.
I kind of got that out of Suicide Squad as well. Like just the same feel. Like they were trying to do something that was a little bit more quirky, maybe a bit more humor.
I was expecting more edge from David A. I was expecting, what's that film you like with the Jake Gyllenhaal?
End of Watch.
Yeah. I was expecting something more grimy from Suicide Squad, and what we ended up getting was quite a polished, strange concoction.
I'd be very interested to see what the original vision from David Ayer was.
We got some news about that this week.
Yeah,
some concept art about originally Steppenwolf was going to be the villain, with the parademons taking the place of those weird googly zombie monsters that we ended up getting, which I think would have been a much better setup for Justice League than the not setup.
I didn't want to put that in this week because I didn't want to do like shit on Justice League. But when I saw that headline and the picture of Steppenwolf, I was like, fucking hell. They did such an awful job with that character.
Yeah.
I saw some of the worst CG you'll see. And character design and everything. Just terrible, terrible, terrible.
Yeah. That's a bit of a disappointment. I mean, it kind of circles back to what the doco that we were talking about earlier, the Hobbit one, about how a lot of these changes get made and why they get made, and how studio involvement can really fuck up a movie. And so yeah, it's weird looking at it through that lens and trying to think of what could have been and what maybe even should have been. So
cool.
Yeah.
Birds of Prey coming soon.
Birds of Prey. When's that? Is that 2020? Let's just quickly do.
If there is still a DC in 2020, then that's the plan.
I think
it's going to be so weird by that point because everything's going to be so disjointed. February. Like there's not going to be a universe, I don't think, anymore.
I think they should all like quietly just slide it under the rug and go, "Hey, you love Margot Robbie? Go!"
I don't think I don't know if I'm being too bold here. I just don't think there's any way Aquaman's going to make money.
Really?
Not after the rest of them didn't.
I would love to get some stats on how it's trending in social and YouTube
because they're pushing it pretty hard. But I really feel like they're going to disband this Justice League after this shit. And they're going to hold on to the successful elements and keep them separate.
I agree something more towards that. I think that if Aquaman is successful, they'll keep on Jason Momoa. They'll keep on I think Harley Quinn. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman.
And we've definitely got a new Batman already. Superman's probably going to change over if the Cavill, I believe.
Oh, by the way, I finally saw the Cavill. I should have mentioned that in Fallout. The Cavill moustache. I finally...
Glorious.
Wait,
glorious.
Had you not seen...
I hadn't seen Fallout, obviously.
Right.
I should have mentioned that earlier.
I got you.
The bushy, glorious thing.
Yeah, worth it, right?
So worth it, bro.
So much, yeah.
So many lols.
Good bathroom fight.
Yeah, that was cool.
That should have been up there on at least I'd maybe count that in one of the better action hand-to-hand fights.
More than some of the ones we talked about.
Yeah.
Definitely not Dark Knight Rises.
No,
mate,
come
on.
No,
of course. That's like up here.
Sacrosanct. Next up, a new Hellboy image shows Big Red in a more violent and bloody picture.
So
just a new picture from Hellboy,
or does it not show that?
You don't really see any violence or blood, but
I wasn't sure where that headline came from.
It looks gritty.
Yeah. Sorry, that's the collider.
that's the direct headline.
New photo shows a more bloody and violent. It's like, no, it just shows Hellboy running down a...
That's a quote, so I think that's just referring to the actual movie, but...
he looks so good.
He's beefy, man. He's a big boy.
I'm loving how they've extended his chin out to give it that really...
pointy.
Yeah. Really much more stylized than the Ron Perlman version. And he looks taller and hulkier.
Yeah, if you were to... I don't know, just shove this into Photoshop or something, just decrease the detail gradually. Like this would turn into a Mignola drawing, I feel.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you can barely see his
shapes,
eyes.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, you're 100% correct, man. April, this is not far off. I am so excited. Why have we seen a trailer yet? I really want to get a trailer in before the end of 2018.
See, this is already starting to sound like fucking Solo. Just waiting for a trailer to break and just being like, well, hopefully we'll get one now.
I hope they are better prepared than you think they are.
Yeah, so do I.
Because I really want this to succeed. I really want to see a Hellboy cinematic universe.
I would love to see Harbour kind of like
good.
take the helm. I just want him to be successful. Like I really enjoy him. And so I think that it would be really great if he was able to helm a franchise like this and then kind of move this towards, because I would love to have a franchise like this. We got a glimpse of what could have been with the is it the Paramount Monsters universe? I don't know what they were calling themselves. Not Paramount. What was the
Universal? The Dark Universe.
Universal Dark Universe.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. We kind of got a glimpse of what could have been, having kind of all these weird and wacky characters and all that. But this could actually work.
More weird and wacky.
Don't think there's any chance a Hellboy movie's going to make money nowadays. Sorry,
it could work, Ben.
I wish.
Please, bro.
I just want to adjust your expectations a little bit. Yeah, I can't remember what the budget on this is. I know they're going lower.
It's going to be, isn't it like a 60 milli or something?
Yeah. So
what's his name?
Neil Marshall.
Neil Marshall. He is the Descent. He's a on set, real world in a forest kind of guy. So I think he can handle a low budget and still churn out a really high quality product. We'll see.
I hope they reference the Descent creatures in this movie with like the BPRD, like they're in a tank or something.
Yeah.
You guys have both seen that, yeah?
Yeah.
Descent. That's one of my absolute favorite horror movies.
That is up there as one of the best. Really underappreciated, I feel.
Yeah, I watched that when I was like 12 or something, maybe. Scared the absolute fuck out of me.
And which ending did you get?
The proper ending.
Yes.
The actual ending.
No,
I can't believe they changed that shit.
I know, what the fuck?
Ruins the whole movie for me.
For anyone that doesn't know, there's a British version, so it is a British film, and then there's an American version. They really softened up the ending to where it was just piss weak.
Yeah, like they just cut essentially the last 30 seconds or so off it, and it completely changes everything. It's the only reason a sequel exists, which isn't particularly good. If you watch this, see this movie and see the actual version of it.
Yeah. I remember watching this film. God, it's been ages since it must have been. God, I'd say almost 10 years since I've seen this film. And I remember enjoying the British version way more. But I understand why the studio did it.
I do not.
Fucking cowards.
Okay, yeah. I don't understand cowardice. So next up, some unreleased photos of Luke Skywalker from The Force Awakens have been revealed.
Yeah, so this is really interesting because in Rey's flashback sequence in The Force Awakens, she goes into the corridor in Cloud City, and that scene was supposed to continue on to where you saw Luke fighting Vader and a few other things happened. I just think this is really cool, and I highly encourage everyone out there to go listen to J.J. Abrams' commentary for The Force Awakens, even if you're not a Star Wars fan, because if you're into filmmaking and how these big blockbusters are made, it is fascinating to hear about the changes, the way he sculpted that film in the editing bay, multiple reshoots. It was just a moving puzzle box the whole way to the finish line. So in terms of just this picture of Luke,
looks fucking weird.
It looks like a Comic-Con cosplayer.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
I think like they must have planned to face replace him. His
Something.
hair looks a little too long though. Like it just looks a little
that
bit
might have
off.
just been why they decided to scrap it. I mean,
It's like Justin Chatwin. I'm very confused by that.
So yeah, that's
interesting
a little Star Wars tidbit there that I thought was quite interesting. I'd love to get a book on that whole production because I think there was a lot of tension and a lot of.
I'm always really impressed by directors that are able to pull off these kind of big, epic movies because I think that a lot of people are us included, are very quick to judge and to kind of lay blame at the director and all this kind of stuff. But their job is really hard in terms of being able to manage an entire crew, think about editing, thinking about what shots I need. Like on this kind of epic level, you need to maybe even be thinking about two or three crews, shooting in different locations.
Mate, shoveling tar is really hard, all right? What directors do is nothing.
There's so much to coordinate.
Python skit about the honest English playwright,
No.
where his sons come back from the coal mine, And he's like, you wouldn't know what a real hard day's work, drinking Chateau de Bond in France and then being back for your opening play at night. And yeah, it's check that out.
Monty Python. That's how we segue.
Yeah, so that takes us directly to Venom, which is continuing its unprecedented box office haul, moving past Wonder Woman at the global box office. It's hitting 822 million, making it the 5th highest grossing movie of the year, the 2nd highest grossing superhero origin movie of all time, behind only Black Panther, and the 3rd highest grossing Spider-Man film, if you count it as one.
That's
Do
so
you
cool.
reckon that there's just an entire room filled with Sony execs just yelling out, "Thank Christ for China"?
No, they're like saying,
Thank God for the world.
they're saying, "What? How did we do that?
Yeah.
What did we do right?"
They don't actually want to make a noise. They're like, "No one move."
they're all just looking at the boss, like trying to gauge his reaction.
What do we do now?
This honestly
Do that again?
upsets me. Why? The more successful this movie is, the more I hate it. Because it doesn't deserve to be this successful. It genuinely doesn't. It's not that good of a film.
I would say it's probably, I have not looked at the Spider-Man box office rankings, but if they fall where my favoritism of them lies, which I feel like they probably do, I think Venom is better than the Spider-Man movies it's outgrossed.
Well,
That makes
tell us
any sense.
which ones are those?
I'm just, this isn't right. Spider-Man 3 wouldn't be in the bottom 3, but I'm assuming the Amazing Spider-Mans are down the bottom, and I think it's better than them at the very least. So
it's definitely better than that.
But
yeah,
that was
better
a
than them.
fair few years ago. I'd be interested to see what Spider-Man's one's box office.
I'm looking at this now.
I think
Is in today's
3
contest.
and 2 would have to be.
According to
in the top.
Forbes.com, Spider-Man 3.
Uh-huh.
Since Spider-Man Homecoming is out. What? Worst to best. Okay, this is starting to make a lot more sense. The Amazing Spider-Man comes in at 6. Why is that not 1? This is the worst list ever.
Is it a box office ranking?
Yeah,
That's all we're talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to find.
We're not talking about opinions of
Every
Forbes.
I'm talking
Spidey
about my
movie
opinions.
box office debut ranked worst to best. So, worst is Spider-Man 3, followed by Spider-Man Homecoming, followed by Spider-Man.
You're talking about the worst to best in terms of what
That's what I'm saying.
Forbes.
This is the
I think we can
weirdest
just move on.
Yeah,
to
we can
something.
move on from that, please. I'm not talking about fucking Forbes on my podcast. All right.
This is really fucking.
You
throwing
need to
me
go to
for a loop.
Wikipedia and type in Spider-Man.
I'm trying to find.
Franchise.
Here.
Franchise.
This is Box Office Mojo. This is a little bit more. Fucking that was weird. Gross,
That was amazing.
dude. It's fucking weird.
Them off.
All right. No, we're just. Never mind. This is fucking weird. This is throwing me for a
Can
loop.
the segment.
Spider-Man,
Got his mic.
Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3, Spider-Man Homecoming, Amazing Spider-Man 2. In list. So, in fucking list.
In the thingy.
Jesus, that was fucking weird.
That was
as shit.
crazy.
So it's the order they were released
That's a
in,
brain
except for
fart.
Basically,
Homecoming.
yeah, that's fucking weird. That's super weird.
Cool. So yeah, swap Homecoming in 3, and my point is what I meant to say. So basically, the only concrete news we're getting out of this is that we're getting a Venom 2
Yes.
guaranteed.
But so this is why it annoys me, because it's definitely not better than at least half of those films.
I think the entertainment value of Venom is what is underappreciated because it is not necessarily a great film. It doesn't, like, the plot is convoluted and we've seen a lot of those things before. But Tom Hardy's performance and the entertainment factor and what it does differently, for me, pushes it over the line, and why I have quite a soft spot for that film. And I'm really interested to watch it again to see what my opinion is.
But in terms
on
of
a
like
second viewing,
what a movie is worth, I feel like a movie should make a lot of money if, in a perfect world, movies that are good would make lots of money. And in particular, movies that are set up for, or that I want to see a continuation of that world, will make lots of money, because that then justifies the studio to say, let's have a second or third or whatever. I don't want to see another Venom movie. I really don't. I genuinely don't. I think that maybe Tom Hardy can pull off this for one film, but him alone is not going to make, a good franchise.
He's not alone. He's got Venom up his ass.
You focus on that way too much.
Hey, look, clearly this movie struck a chord with a whole bunch of different people for, I'm sure, a whole bunch of different reasons. But yeah, like if a bad movie is going to make a lot of money this year, I'd rather it be something a little more offbeat like this than
Transformers.
Then yeah, you kind of standard generic.
This is the oddball.
This is the most
oddball.
This is about as generic as you can fucking get in terms of
the
like.
protagonist of this film spends half the movie biting people's heads off. Like this is it's different. Yeah, but it's still like explicitly happens in the film. Like this is different than the Transformers movies where even though they are clearly evil, like Optimus Prime, they're meant to be the good guys. Like they're meant to be like goddamn American heroes. Like I don't know. I think this movie is more interesting than you give it credit for.
Yeah, I'm with you, Benny.
I feel like you liked this movie until we said we liked it in the review.
No. I like
the devil's advocate mode kicked in.
The more successful that this movie is, the more I want to make sure that people know how fucking average it is. And,
but I think
my annoyance is that
it is average in a lot of areas, no doubt. But the other areas, it's so different and unexpected and.
That's way too much praise.
Entertainment.
That's way too much
entertaining.
Praise. It's not reinventing the wheel. It's not doing anything spectacular. It's like it's got a good performance by Tom Hardy. It's a little bit edgy. That's it. That's it.
I think you're boiling it down too simply, and I think there's a lot more ingredients to this film.
Yeah, if we get into the ingredients, then it becomes a tangled mess.
Yeah, but an interesting one. And I don't think you're giving people enough credit either, because I think the general consensus on this film is that it's not a good or a great film, but like what we thought is it's interesting and entertaining and a bit different, and there's elements to it that made it more worth watching than some other thing that people maybe decided to skip this year.
Yes. And
like
again, my main
seen...
concern is that the financial gain of this film means that we're definitely going to get another one, and I don't want to see that. Because I don't think that this is kind of like
though. You don't have to say it.
That's a bad. Don't use that excuse. That's terrible.
You didn't watch half the other movies you reviewed this year. So
half the movies that are going to come out next year, Ben, are just Transformer films, and you just don't have to watch them.
Yeah,
well, I'm gonna have to watch.
I will. I'm fine with that. I will happily watch new Transformers films.
Well, you're getting one. Okay.
Don't we both think Bumblebee looks good?
Yeah,
I'm the one who doesn't like it.
Yeah,
but it wasn't directed
once
by...
again, this is the same conversation that we have every time a new Transformer film comes out. We're like, this could actually be good. Like the trailer's kind of getting me a bit.
Yeah, you fools. Fools!
No, I think they're all terrible.
Onwards.
A little more box office news. Robin Hood, which we probably won't be reviewing, has bombed at the box office, earning $22 million. Now, I saw the headline saying that it earned $22 million. And assumed that meant domestically in its opening weekend. No, it earned $22 million worldwide in 5 days on a $100 million budget. So I don't have the numbers in front of me, but that sounds even worse to me than King Arthur, which was the biggest bomb of last year, I think.
Easily.
And what's the parallel we've been drawing this entire time?
Stank of that film.
Yeah.
I will go one step further. Well, obviously, I enjoyed King Arthur, but
obviously,
mate,
you stepped into that one, didn't you?
You just defended Venom. You can just sit your ass down.
I'm sitting down.
On the floor.
But I am sitting down
on the floor.
Lay down.
But this just kind of, at least
King
Arthur seemed. I kind of do as well.
I don't want to just
we need like a good, we could even do like a beers and banter one.
Yeah, I'd be
get really angry.
Yeah.
Who actually directed this Robin Hood?
I just assumed Guy Ritchie.
Well, no, because it doesn't. Guy Ritchie has a certain kind of.
He does the plan scenes. That was a cool scene in King Arthur. I will give it that, when they're doing the plan and they're talking about the plan and you're simultaneously seeing it go on. Yeah. That was a cool scene. That was it, though. That's all I'll give it.
All right, fine.
Directed by Otto Bathurst.
Okay.
How good's that?
There was, for me, enough in King Arthur that made me like the aesthetic of it, like the feel of it, and a lot of the performances in that I was like, all right, I can get on board with this. Before I'd even seen it. This just absolutely reeks of studio fucking nonsense. It's like I will give the comparison with King Arthur because it's kind of, there are obvious comparisons to draw, but it just feels like that without a competent person at the helm. or anything that's going to add a little edge or anything that's going to make it a little bit interesting. I haven't seen it, so I don't know if that's the case, but that's just the feeling that I get, and that I feel like a lot of people will look at that and feel like that's the case.
The reviews have been in line with this reception from what I've seen, but I was saying to Georgie before that kind of the sites I follow, the couple of reviews I've seen and skimmed have actually been kind of positive in like a, this is just kind of a nutty fucking gonzo weird action thing. So yeah, I'd kind of be down to watch it as well, to be honest.
I just know I'm gonna hate that film. I'm gonna hate it. I'm gonna be squirming 45 minutes and being like, when the fuck is this gonna
Yeah, I've
finish?
also heard it described as a Batman Begins remake. So
That's unfortunate.
that's
Hell yeah.
It's so
Nolan.
interesting.
I mean, he's the best filmmaker ever. So hey, you sold me. You sold me.
What time is it?
It's trailer time.
Are we not talking about Del Toro?
Nope.
Oh, what?
Take my cues, man.
No, I want to talk about it. Fine.
Let's talk about
Trailer time.
it. Let's talk about it. We
Really
had one more
quickly.
story.
Really quickly. The only thing I really want to say is that I don't want him to do Count of Monte Cristo.
Tell the
people.
Tell the people at home what the headline is.
He's Del Toro's come out in a tweet and said these are all the screenplays that I've written. And there's a whole list of them. The Witches, Justice League Dark, Beauty and the Beast, At the Mountains of Madness, Fantastic Voyage, Count of Monte Cristo, and on. I loved the Pacific Rim 2, and then in brackets, very different.
That's funny. Del Toro is renowned for having his movies announced and then never go anywhere.
Yeah, which kind of makes it all the more intriguing because you'd love to see the versions of those films.
He's built this brand of like the what if, like
Yeah.
what is he going to do next? And what the film that always excited me so much so that I read the short story was At the Mountains of Madness. Has a fucking awesome short story by H.P. Lovecraft. He's unsettling. It's nihilistic. It's got this really cold, empty feeling. It's really cool, and I couldn't wait to see him commit this to screen. James Cameron was going to produce. Tom Cruise was going to star. And a $200 million budget. And
You
it
said that middle
apart.
part too enthusiastically. I
Yeah,
feel.
it's like Tom Cruise is going to start.
All
like,
I was stoked about with that casting was that was a platform for this film and
To
H.P.
get some
Lovecraft
attention.
and something really quirky to get some limelight, in the limelight.
You'd have thought that a project that has Tom Cruise attached to it is like guaranteed to get off the ground, and then Del Toro's like, hold my beer.
I was about to say I don't really associate Tom Cruise with eldritch horror and existential terror, but then I was like, oh no, wait, Scientology. That makes better sense.
Maybe that's why he
that's
tanked it. He's
so
like, this is a
true.
bit too close to home.
Yeah. Hopefully, though, Netflix or one of these other platforms does this, because I feel like, as you were saying with Outlaw King, Hill House, we're starting to see the quality go up, and these mediums are actually being taken seriously. The streaming medium is being taken seriously, and it's really cool.
And Del Toro's done some work with them with Troll Hunters, yeah?
Yeah, that was a
animated one.
Netflix exclusive, right?
On the side note, have you ever seen Fantastic Voyage?
No.
Because that's one of the scripts that he's written is I believe a remake.
Oh.
I've seen the Simpsons episode based on it, which I really enjoyed.
That shit gave me fucking.
I've seen the Rick and
nightmares.
Morty episode best.
Yeah. And the Magic
And the-
School Bus as well.
And the Archer.
No.
Anyways,
What time is
is
it again? I've forgotten.
It's trailers timing.
Hey.
We got some trailers.
We need a jingle to throw in there, I think.
There's this, shout out to Rode microphones. There's this Rode podcasting unit, and we can put in jingles. Let's see if we can get it. We'll give you a plug, Rode. We'll give you a plug.
If you give us a very
Send
expensive
us one.
unit.
Send us one. We love Rode mics. We use Rode mics. We love it.
I make out with it every episode.
all right. First on our list for trailer time is The Lion King, the live action. Even though it's not really live action, it's also just animated.
The real story
Yeah.
committed to film by Jonathan Favreau.
I will say this: I liked
A dark retelling.
the fact that it looked almost kind of shot for shot.
And somebody did on social media, somebody put them together, one above the other with the original. Very, very close.
I have no idea. Is there any plan for this to be kind of a musical, like, or in the same vein, or
Yep.
Yeah?
All that jazz.
Okay, why then? That's my only question. Why?
Well, why the whole live action thing?
yeah,
you know.
I genuinely, I'm
Okay,
getting really sick and tired of this shit.
A couple things three things stood out to me. The first time when I saw it, I noticed like when Simba went up in the air, he was like very expressionless. And then when I saw this comparison video, I was like, wow, like the animated one, the cartoon one, he was full of life. His eyes were wide open and he was curious. And then I saw an article on Facebook pop up. I didn't read it, but I was doing a bit of headline reading, talking about the form, the realistic form that they're going for actually makes the characters, it puts up a wall. And they got away with it in Jungle Book because Mowgli was the conduit for the audience in the story. He was the human character. But in this, it's all animals. And they've got this sort of, like they're not as they're not filled with that vibrancy that the original had. So they've got a real obstacle. And I actually kind of felt that and saw that the first time.
Well, even when
I saw the trailer.
Simba does his big roar at the end, you're kind of like, it just looks like a lion roaring.
Yeah, Mufasa, yeah. It was like
the end of Jurassic World.
And it wasn't like he
Kingdom.
wasn't stylized. Like I thought he could have like a fuck off mane or just like a little bit of
it just looks like real animals that are apparently just going to talk to each other.
And I'm not sure that was the best way to go about it.
I don't think that Disney should be making any of these films. I can almost guarantee you, though, that this will make a bucket load of money.
It's the second most viewed trailer of all time, behind only Avengers: Infinity War. I'm a pretty moderate guy most of the time. I hate this. I hate this from the pit of my soul.
You sound like me.
I'm such a huge fan of the original. It's the first film I ever saw in a cinema. I think it's a masterpiece. I think it's perfect. And I think this looks like the most soulless fucking, like all of these ones they've been doing, but even more so for me, just personally. So I'm just...
Good cast, though.
Oh my God. No, yes, very good cast, except James Earl Jones. What the fuck were they thinking? That's the stupidest idea I've ever heard. Recasting the same actor who perfected that role however many years ago, now that he's 100 years old and sounds terrible. I think he sounds terrible in this trailer because I know those lines. I know the intonation of every word in those lines. I can not just sing the songs in that film. I can recite the film from the first word to the last. And this is the remake that's going to really get me because I talked about this.
You're not on the bandwagon.
I talked about this recently where they're doing the ones that are different than the original animated ones or about animated ones that I didn't care about, like Beauty and the Beast. So I can judge them on their own merits, kind of. Didn't like them still. But this one is just going to make me angry from start to finish because it just doesn't look as good to me. It doesn't sound as good to me. And I'm a huge traditional animation fan, and that's a dead art except for on TV. And to see, like, this feels like erasure to me. Like, this is replacing what I think is just a much more technically accomplished and beautiful original where you can actually see artistry. You know, this, as you said, just looks like animals.
Yeah.
There's no expression. There's no emotion.
Yeah. I really, really felt that. And you're right, man. Like their goal here is not expression, like emotion. Their goal is how fucking photorealistic can we make Mufasa?
Yeah.
That's got to look like a real ass lion or this falls apart. Like there's not like that level of artistry as you were talking about. And I'm seeing that in this trailer.
Which is the most baffling thing about this, which you mentioned, Connor, is that it is still just an animated film, but it's just a much less interestingly animated film. It's not stylized like the original. It doesn't draw on elements of African culture like that. It just looks fucking dead inside.
Why, but I kind of know why. The why is obviously for money.
The money. And this is going to be the highest grossing movie of the next year.
This is
easily.
Do you guys reckon it's going to hit $2 billion?
We've got Avengers 4 and this. They're going to be the two.
I think this will break $2 billion.
I could see it.
I think this will be the third highest gross. I think this will overtake Force Awakens.
One of the, just a kind of a quick side note, I think that you kind of touched on something that makes me feel like Aladdin could be good, which is that this is a movie that it's just one animated film to another. There's no kind of room to explore. I think that the original was kind of perfect. Whereas Aladdin, I feel like there's an interesting culture and there's an interesting kind of, it's people. And I think that there's something to seeing people right in front of you as opposed to animated that adds to the experience. Like you will never get a more emotional connection with someone on the screen as if you're looking at an actual human character doing their thing. So I think that there's room to explore that. I think there's room to make a far, I say in quotations, richer world. But that doesn't quite apply to The Lion King.
Well, I don't know. Did you guys see the stage production?
Yep.
Because I've seen that twice, and that's using the human form to recreate these characters. You can't do it in this feed. Disney cannot go down that avenue. But it's a beautiful way of telling that story. I thought they did that really well. I really enjoyed it a lot.
I thought it was stunning. I thought it was completely breathtaking.
Yeah, I was, and they told the story well.
Yeah. And theater is a completely different medium, though. Like the different rules apply. You know, the ability to suspend disbelief and the whole narrative structure is completely different as well.
But still, something that did bother me about the theater production was, I would say, the actor playing Scar, just all of them in general, but probably especially Scar, because that's just really stuck with me, is just, the way he pronounces certain words and certain sentences, lines directed.
It's Jeremy Irons, right?
In the original film,
original.
And I'm just like, no, it's not quite.
There
It's not quite how it's meant to sound, you know?
There will never be the "Long live the king" said more perfectly than it was.
That
in
growl.
That film. Yeah. I wouldn't even try to like. I was when I was thinking about saying it, I was like, should I try and do the intonation? I was like, that's not going to work. I'm just going to fuck it up.
Yeah, I'm getting like the hair standing on the back of my neck from that scene, man. Like that. I was in the cinema. What was it? 95. So I would have been 5-6 years old, and I just remember being like, wow, that hit me, man. That hit me for 6.
Like
do you know that
a herd of wildebeest?
Yeah, it hit me more when I was like 18 than it did when I was 6. Because when I was 6, I don't think I really grasped the concept of Mufasa dying and all that kind of stuff. And more importantly, I didn't really appreciate scoring and the music behind a scene. Whereas when I heard that when I was kind of 18 years old, I was like,
Hans Zimmer score too.
Yeah, yes, Hans Zimmer scored.
He's back. He's back.
What's the point of any of this? God damn it.
I don't know.
I'm done with that. Anyway, I'm done talking about that for the longest time, please. I fucking hate it.
We'll move on. Lego Movie 2 is the one that we are looking at.
Finally found the trailer.
Yeah. Can I just once again express my absolute hate for YouTube channels that amalgamate
multiple trailers
or that
you're the worst.
I hate them.
You actually make our jobs a lot harder. No, we have to click 3 more buttons and waste approximately 43 seconds.
Like, new extended trailer, and then it's like the teaser, and then it's just the normal trailer afterwards. Like, it's fucking. I hate that. If I find a good send us in. If you have a YouTube channel that just provides you with up to date, thing that aren't trying to do some fucking marketing bullshit or anything like that, send that shit in to me, please.
Deliver it, people.
Do our job for us, damn it.
Fucking Joe Blow movies can suck it. Anyways, Lego Movie 2. I don't know. This hasn't really kind of sparked my interest too much. There was a couple of funny scenes.
I got a fair few chuckles there. That little star.
The star gold.
The star was what did it for me. But
it doesn't look as good as the first.
No, it doesn't.
You won't be able to hit that level ever, though, I feel.
Yeah, I don't think the last 2 Lego movies have been as good as the first Lego movie. No. But that being said, I've really enjoyed all 3 of them. I know I'm alone on that.
But I think also it's important to say that for like Ninjago and Batman, my expectations weren't as high either. They very much were marketed and felt like spin-offs, and therefore I wasn't.
They had a little bit of breathing room to fuck up a bit.
Yeah. This is kind of coming directly off the first one, which there's such a high bar for that film. I still absolutely love that film. I think it cracks me up every time I watch it. So it's going to have such a high bar, and everything I'm seeing is kind of gives me some chuckles, but at the end of the day, makes me very worried.
If I can raise your expectations a bit, the film's directed by Mike Mitchell, who directed Trolls, Surviving Christmas, Sky High, Shrek Forever After, and Juice Bigelow, Male Gigolo. So that's a pretty high pedigree, I think, for any film.
You're a real piece of shit, man.
No, he's a real piece of shit. A fun fact, it was originally going to be directed by Rob Schraub from Harmontown.
Really?
Yeah, and he got kicked off the movie for some reason. Never really came out.
He's
why?
Dan Harmon's mate.
Yeah, probably, yeah. If anyone knows why Rob Schraub got kicked off Lego Movie 2, I'd really love to know.
Send us that as well, yeah. I don't know.
Okay, yeah. So
that's all I have really to say about that. I mean, it looks
absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
but I'm loving the Mad Max dystopian intro there. I'm really into that for some reason.
And I still dig the premise a lot. The whole little sister kind of invading boys' space.
I don't know. I'm kind of hoping I remain at this level of apathy.
Get surprised.
And then when I go in, I'm just
you.
going to be like, I'm going to have the same experience as the first one. Maybe that's what they're aiming for. All right, let's move on. Number 3 on our list is The Vanishing. This is the new Gerard Butler. And
I know Gerard Butler's in it, but I can't remember it.
it's the lighthouse keepers
based on true
island.
events.
Yeah. It honestly, and I've already forgotten his name. There's a speech at the beginning where one of the 3 main characters is speaking. God, I'm gonna have to find this movie again. God damn it! And it, all I could think of the entire trailer, I was just trying to think about where I saw or where I recognized that voice from, because he doesn't look anything like what I would recognize him in. The name is Peter Mullen. He's been in a shit ton of films, but I recognize him from Harry Potter as one of the I think it was in the 7th or 8th one, maybe the 8th, as one of the big bad guys, like one of the bad Aurors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't have anything else to say about this trailer. Because I literally spent the entire time that it was on, I was trying to figure out who the fuck that was and what I recognized him from.
I don't have any time for Gerard Butler movies, and I won't watch them.
Yeah, I was thinking about marketing films that are based on, when it says based on true events. I think you could do it so much more interesting. Like you could really try and rope people in a little bit more, try to hook them in with this was a true story, but not just go like it seems they don't give a fuck. Like they're just churning out this trailer and based on true events. Let's just go with that standard shit. Standard bog standard shit. That's gonna be my new catchphrase.
It might be worth checking out. I think it's 1 hour 41 minutes is the runtime, so it seems relatively
I'll be okay.
One and done. Yeah, exactly.
I'll be all right.
You can see this kind of film based on the trailer as really dragging, but if it's 141, that seems like they could get a lot done.
Yep.
Just kind of move along.
I will not be watching it.
Shock me.
And I don't think I'll be watching this next one either. Even though I do love my dumb American comedies, I'm just not sure.
All right, so the next trailer is What Men Want.
I had to throw this in there.
I'm going to contradict you. I do kind of want to see it. Yeah, genuinely. And there's another trailer that we never talked about as well in the same vein, which is the new Rebel Wilson one, where she wakes up and she's in a...
Oh, yeah, we did talk about that.
Oh, did we talk about that?
When, I think you went on that.
Oh, maybe I wasn't. This kind of reminded me of that.
Maybe I was just talking to myself.
These are the 2 ones that are coming up that aren't typically in our wheelhouse, but are 2 movies that I do generally want to see just because I feel a little bit different.
So what's the premise?
Odd. I only wanted to bring up What Men Want because just the other day I was thinking about the Mel Gibson film What Women Want that this is a remake of, and how bizarre that movie is, and how like it just wouldn't exist today in its form.
In its form,
yeah.
But if you switch it around, instant hit.
Well, I don't know about that, but
quite Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, the whole time watching this trailer, I was pretty much just being like, "Wow, what a weird movie that was." The original. Anyway,
yeah, I have never seen that. I always thought the title seemed really strange.
It was,
God, just thinking about Mel Gibson nowadays and like him starring in that premise, it's just insane.
I don't know. This kind of looks like an easy to watch American comedy.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
As I said, there's a time and a place for that for sure. But I won't be going to the
Morgan's
cinema.
alive. And it seems he had
Did you watch
that motherfucker has an Asian 2 decades.
Well, he had a really bad
Oh,
accident a couple
very
years ago.
bad,
Nearly
very
killed him.
bad.
Yeah,
Really?
He got hit by a bus or some shit.
Yeah,
Like, it was
yeah.
bad.
Real fuck.
he got fucked up. Like it was looking touch and go there.
Wow.
He was in coma for ages. Like he came back and he couldn't speak. Like,
wow.
But did you see his comedy special afterwards?
Mm.
So I never really watched his comedy before he had the accident. So I can't say as to whether this is because of the accident or whether this is just how his comedy is, but I just didn't find him very funny. I was like, ooh.
No, that was always like that, I think.
Okay. All right. So he's just not funny. All right, cool. Too easy. Really quick on the last one. Into the Dark. Pooka?
That's an exclamation point, not a question mark.
Pooka?
Um,
I cannot express how much I'm into this.
This is cool. So this is a Blumhouse produced Hulu anthology horror series. This is just one episode of it, being an anthology show. I'd never heard of it before, so I just trailer popped up my feed.
I've been waiting for a Masters of Horror in 2018 and beyond kind of form, and this could be it. This could be it, people.
This is the one.
Strap yourselves in.
Put it all on black.
I'm not interested in this.
No way.
No.
I love this, man. I love the design
I'm going to break from the stock standard Podcast Strikes Back talk track and say, I don't care that it's Blumhouse. I don't like it.
Wow.
Fair enough.
Don't do that. Go.
Another one, just quickly, you might be interested in. It's been going for a couple of years now. Is Channel Zero? It's a sci-fi or sci-fi anthology. Not in the same way. It's like each season's a different story, but it's based on like creepypasta stories, like internet urban legends.
Damn. Yes.
And I watched the first season of that, and man, that was really interesting. I don't know if I ever showed you the trailer or anything. It's got like a little child made out of teeth. You've probably seen it at some point. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was really cool. Yeah.
Have you read a bunch of like creepypasta and those short stories? Holy fuck.
Yeah, they're fun. Yeah, you should check out the series then. It's real cool.
They are intense.
Reading horror is so much scarier than watching horror.
Oh, yeah.
You are in it, man, and like, I've like some Lovecraft stuff, some other stuff. It's really scary.
It's not something that you'd really expect because you think that horror is such a visual genre. But no, they're really impactful. All right, let's move on.
Question of the week. Let's wrap this up. Guys, we got a question from Anthony DeRiso, one of our fucking OG fans. Thanks for this question, bro. Really appreciate it. This got announced a few weeks ago, but we didn't get into our thoughts. What are your thoughts on the Bucky and Falcon TV show that's coming to Disney Plus from Marvel?
Confusion. I'm pretty sure Bucky's dead.
Holy shit, I think Falcon's dead as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be a real quiet show.
Nobody who listens to this podcast has watched Infinity War, guys. So I'm going to have to edit that out.
Fuck.
My parents actually just watched it for the first time yesterday or the day before. Yeah.
Mom, Dad, sit down. It's time to watch Infinity War.
I'll introduce you to your first Marvel movie.
I was literally talking to my dad today. He goes, holy shit, that went dark real quick. I was like, I fucking know, right?
He's like, bro, we've been doing this shit for 10 years.
What do I think of it? I like it. I like both those actors. I like both those characters. I think the camaraderie between them is cool.
You like this more than because you were really against the Loki film. TV series.
100%.
So you're way more into this one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Yeah. That was the follow up I was looking for.
Loki seems like I don't see him as a main character. Like I can't see him doing an episodic style show. Like it just does. It when I think about Loki, and
we've gone through Loki. Why do you think this is good?
Because I feel like you could pull off a far more episodic, kind of fun, mission based type TV series. I think it lends itself towards that. It makes a lot of sense. With Loki, like just think about this. Loki is the anti-hero, which means that he has to play off someone. I mean, that's just the way it works. So how do you have that work in a TV series?
Have him play off someone.
Well, but I mean, he has to kind of play off. The way that it works is he's not the good guy, but he plays off the good people, but he's also not the bad guy, and he plays off the bad guys. And every time that he's worked, he's kind of sat in between the two. So what are you gonna have, a good guy and a bad guy in every episode?
Maybe they clone Loki and he battles himself, and it's all about his inner turmoil.
I don't think any of these shows are going to be episodic, though. I think they're going to be very limited series, like Hill House, like 10 episodes or however many, 8 episodes of a story.
If they go down that path,
like all the Netflix stuff.
That's off.
I mean, that could be the case. I maybe.
No, I think that's the way to go about it.
Yeah.
If they keep it limited and they don't do an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. where there's 7 seasons, like.
Have they indicated that they're going to do that at all?
I mean, surely if they're getting A-grade talent, they're only going to be shooting short, seasons of these shows.
Possibly.
I'm really into that idea.
Yeah. I love these two characters, and I want to see more of them. Some of the most fun stuff in like Civil War was the two of them and how much they fucking disliked each other.
I like the chemistry.
It's it would be more fun I think to have Cap there as well, but obviously that's not an option. So yeah, I'm into it.
Cool. Well, there you have it, Anthony. That's our answer.
You didn't really give your thoughts.
Oh. No, I said I think if they do it in that limited series format and it doesn't go... What my main concern always is when I hear TV series is this is going to be a never-ending 8-season slog that becomes so alienated from what the original premise and kind of like idea of the show is. Not to say that a show can't evolve and change, but often they don't, and often they become more corporatized, and it's all about the bottom line. And I just hope that they keep this very nice and contained, and then do a Loki one, then do a this one, that one, insert character here, insert character there. You get the picture. I think that is the better strategy for them.
Yeah, totally.
Well, there we have it, guys. Weekly show all wrapped up for you. Don't forget, we're on the YouTubes. We're on the Apple Podcasts. We're on the Spotifys. We're on the Facebook. We're on the Instagram. Go follow us on all the channels. All of those. Like, if you don't, I'm going to be a little upset.
All or none.
Yeah.
Okay? If you're only in a couple of them, get out.
What of it? And Connor's not going to say anything there. Okay. We're going to chime out of here. And don't forget to listen to our Ballad of Buster Scruggs review. We'll be back next week.
Bye.
Boys, Connor.
Jump the gun on that one. Bye.
And do the podcast again. See ya. Proud of you, Connor. This is the least annoying you've ever been on this show.
Boom shakalaka.
Boom shakalaka. Well, if you're just going to continue to fuck with the technology, I'm going to go take a piss.
Excellent.